Hi, ladies and gentlemen, Orin back here again. The video that I'm going to do today is going to be on the law of attraction. But before I head into all of that, I would just like to refer back to a video that is labeled The Dangers of the Occult and Related. It's one of the videos that I did. I'm going to link it in the description below. You guys can check out that initial video. And in that video, I simply explain how I don't differ from other occultists when it comes to trials and adversaries and pain and suffering. For I myself have been through more than my fair share of all of that in the first part of my life, despite the fact that I'm only 32. The first 30 years of my life have been filled for 90% with pain and suffering and trials, all brought on by the occult. And I discussed that in that video more or less, and that the occult was the instigator of all of that. That the occult and occult forces, evil spirits that drove me to all kinds of things like suicide attempts, multiple attempts, and all of those things. That these things are part of the whole scheme of things. That it's basically, metaphorically put, the price that God makes you pay for being able to do what you do as an occultist, as opposed to the average person that's completely oblivious to spiritual forces and so on. But yeah, just like I said, because I need to bring this up, because the law of attraction dates back, my experience with the law of attraction dates back to a time when I still found myself in such a position, such a bad position. I remember that this was, let's just say roughly estimated, when in 2018, this was in 2012 approximately, 2010 and 2012, I found myself still heavily weighed down by black magic and evil entities and so on. And they made me feel lifeless, and I just felt like life had no meaning, no purpose, no anything. And I was under such an immense level of mental pressure that I was so weakened mentally that I barely even knew where I was. I was completely disoriented, and I looked horrible too. Okay, I looked horrible too. You can consult the article below, the article on this piece, the law of attraction. For I inserted in that article two pictures. One is of me in 2016, 2 years ago, where I look great, of course, in my current mental state. And the other one is in 2010. That's a snippet from my ID card, my identification card, to make you guys see what I looked like back then in 2010. It's basically kind of like an after and before segment image. But yeah, back then I still had all of these issues. I was still attacked by enemies with black magic, and I still was still heavily weighed down by negative entities, and my life was simply still nothing but pain and misery. Honestly, I was this was 8 years ago, so I was in my 20s back then, 24 years, 25, roughly estimated, yeah. And that's when I had personal experiences with the law of attraction. I knew that the law of attraction was always true in theory, but I experienced it unfortunately firsthand. And the law of attraction simply is that negative situations, find yourself in a negative state of mind, and then you'll automatically attract negative situations. Simply put it simply, you are what you become, or you attract what you are, basically. And it simply refers to the fact that if you find yourself in a mental state, a certain level of mental state, a serious mental state, then you'll automatically attract life situations and events that correspond to that mental state. From a negative perspective, if you find yourself in a really bad mental state like I did, and it's not to get things confused, okay? I'm not talking about a superficial mental state where you don't feel, where you just feel angry for a moment or something like that, or where you're just going through a bad phase. I'm talking about legitimately find yourself in a deep-seated place in your life where you're completely miserable, and where you're legitimately mentally burdened or weighed down by negativity, like a depression or any other mental disorder, anything that you can label a mundane mental disorder. And you'll notice that a good deal of things will start going wrong in your life. A good deal of things will start going wrong in your life. You'll attract a bunch of negative people in your life. You'll attract parasites. You'll attract a negative work environment. You're going to struggle to get by. I've experienced all of these things. Back then, I worked a dead-end job as a security guard, despite the fact that I have an above-average level of education and qualifications. I worked a dead-end job that had no benefits or no progressive opportunities or capabilities, no chances to expand or any kind of opportunities that can be expanded upon. It was simply a job for people that were nothing, okay? The uneducated, the unqualified. It's kind of like a pariah kind of job. I worked as a security guard, and I had nothing, honestly. I went through life back then like a zombie, and I felt weighed down. And I remember talking to someone about this, a neighbor, and I just felt really bad, okay? I felt so horrible. I remember I talked to that person, that neighbor, and I told him I feel so lifeless. I feel like life has no meaning anymore, like it has no purpose, no nothing. I'm not saying that I'm suicidal, but I just feel lost. I don't know, I don't feel like living anymore, to put it that way. I just don't feel anything, you know. I feel completely lifeless and devoid of any kind of life. Of course, he didn't give me a sensible answer, because the guy that I spoke to was a junkie, but you get my point, okay? My entire situation and my mental state was brought on by occult influences, negative or destructive occult influences. And I also attracted parasitic people. I remember I attracted due to the fact that I'm so good looking, I attracted some kind of teenage girl that had a crush on me, a Native American girl that lived nearby. But that girl was beyond worthless due to the fact that she was insane. We're talking about clinically insane. She used to, another neighbor had told me, okay, that she used to come outside in her underwear and just run around like she's insane. And I was like, you don't have to tell me twice. Any person can tell just by looking at her that she's insane. And a bunch of other things, okay? She had a crush on me, and then she tried to take advantage of me by trying to ask me for money. And I bought her some food because I just pitied her overall. I just bought her some food just out of sheer pity, okay? Just an inexpensive meal. Just something normal that you pick up at the store for $20 or something. And guess what? She shared that food with her entire family. I was like, holy crap. Okay. This is beyond worthless. This is worth less than nothing duplicated times 10,000. And yet she still tried to come near me or anything, okay? I looked at her and like, get lost. I don't want you near me. And yet she still tried coming near me. And I wanted no part of it. And those are just a couple of examples that I can give. And that's, again, it's simply a reference to my mental state, okay? I also had a dog back then, but that dog was also nothing but misery. It wasn't a good dog. That dog did a bunch of things like puke on my bed. I kept the dog indoors. That dog was nothing more than a burden, okay? That dog shed a lot of hair unnecessarily, so leading me to clean up my apartment. The dog was nothing but a liability. And based on everything that I've explained to you, dear viewer, you can already come to the conclusion, okay? You can already paint yourself a picture of what life was like for me back then. Life was work, home, and I didn't go out or anything. I rarely went out because I felt that way. And I was just a broken shell of a man. But again, all of that was instigated by forces like I just explained. And that is the point of the law of attraction, okay? You attract what you are. And that means that your mental state, again, not superficial, a deep-seated, genuine Genuinely bad mental state will lead to bad situations, and it will basically create your reality. A negative mental state will create a negative reality. And this is also a reference back to auto-suggestion. That's one of my other articles. I'm also going to link that in the description below. It's basically something that Jesus taught in the New Testament, is that if you truly believe that you can do something, that you'll be able to do it. Okay? And the point is simply that mental purity will lead to a positive life. But negativity will lead you down nothing but a downward spiral and pain and misery and suffering of indescribable proportions. Whether it's intentionally brought on by you or unintentionally thrown your way, like as was the case for me, it doesn't matter whether it's your fault or not. It doesn't matter. That will still be the result. Another example, a simple example, is that you should try doing something when you're angry. You'll notice that when you're angry, for example, that nothing will go right, okay? Simple household tasks like opening up the fridge to get something to eat or to drink will lead you to either open it up too hard and thereby hitting some part of your body, stubbing your toe, or something like that, okay? You'll notice that all of a sudden you'll start to trip over you'll start to trip, period, okay? Or something similar is going to happen to you. Nothing but negativity, and the point is that negativity will lead to negativity. And that's simply a perfect illustration and example of what I just said, okay? That's what the law of attraction is, and I've experienced it firsthand. I'm doing fine now, and there are no issues, I'm doing great. This will lead to anything, okay? You can even, some stuff like that can even cause health problems. Not that you're physically unhealthy, but be mentally unhealthy, and that mental unhealthiness, that dilapidated mental state will automatically lead to a dilapidated physical state. You'll notice that you'll become sick more often and related. You'll start contracting everyday diseases, maybe even a serious disease. All of that, okay? In my current positive mental state, I'm doing just fine. Aside from the default side effects that my work accompanies with it, basically neurosis and rage, so anger. But that doesn't classify as a negative mental state. Because it's simply a side effect of my occult work. I'm doing fine. Mentally and physically, I'm stronger than I've ever been. I'm getting the results that I want to get from my work, significantly great results. And everything's going fine in my life, okay? But the second I notice that the second that something goes wrong, due to the fact that I did something wrong in my work, it will automatically trigger stress. And that stress will manifest itself either mentally and physically, or both. So that is it on the law of attraction. Now you guys know. Thanks for watching. Bye.